What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. So actually a couple days ago I kind of made a video detailing the internal sandbox that Riot has going on that they use for like playtesting and all that jazz. And well, suddenly, good stroke of fortune here, we finally have an announcement for an official sandbox mode coming to League of Legends in the future, likely in Season 7. Now, this is something that was pretty unexpected considering the fact that about a year ago, Riot said that they didn't want to release a sandbox mode because they thought it would increase toxicity and really cause a bunch of problems for the game that they just didn't really want to deal with. And after a massive community uproar, it seems like they've completely done a total 180, flipped their stance on that, and now they have finally announced it. And, well, they're releasing an official sandbox mode to the public. And it was honestly a little bit unexpected, but it's definitely still super welcome and it's something that I am extremely excited for. Now, it's not entirely a pure sandbox mode. They're calling it kind of like a sort of like practice tool sort of thing. Essentially what the design that they're releasing it with is that it's going to be set up in a way that is very focused on allowing players to practice their mechanics. It's going to be kind of like a sort of like maybe training weights or like punching bag kind of thing is what they described it as. You know, something that you can log into and just practice some kind of mechanic 100 times in a row. You know, you practice your flashes 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. You know, it's definitely going to be something that is a focus of allowing players to like create drills for their mechanics or just setups and just ways for you to practice your mechanics in general. Now, they've also said that they are not currently looking to develop a multiplayer tool like this. So it's just going to be very solo focused, you know, for you as an individual player to just practice your mechanics. It's not going to be set up for you as a team to practice team fighting or something like that. And some of the features that this practice tool setup is going to have is that it's going to allow you to have, of course, infinite gold, infinite cooldown, so you could reset your cooldowns at will. You can also lock your level, so if you maybe don't want to gain experience or if you want to like change your level around, start at a certain point, you know, change the experience that you have so that you can practice certain abilities at certain points in the game. You can also freeze minion spawns and control minions around the map and stuff like that. It's going to be a pretty decent setup as far as like what you would actually want from a sandbox mode. I mean, pretty much it definitely does look like it's going to have the major things that you would want from it, and it's going to be a great way to practice your flashes, your ultimates, and just your mechanics in general. Now, Riot Latency also commented a little bit on the forums about some further features that might be added, and someone asked if they were going to be able to switch runes and masteries in this mode, and they probably said that they're not going to do it because it's going to be a little bit tricky to implement, but it is something they might look at in the future. Another thing that was also asked about was being able to respawn jungle camps, and this is something that they definitely have plans, so being able to respawn jungle camps, you know, around the map and stuff so that you can maybe test out jungle routes or just, you know, jungle pathing, how your champion does against the jungle, stuff like that. It's going to be an awesome mode and should hopefully let players practice quite a lot. And especially their goals with this game mode is really just to make something that every individual player can find some sort of value in. So from my understanding, it's going to be very beginner friendly. There's going to be a nice like UI integrated to the setup. It's not going to be like some sort of console command kind of thing where you have to just like know the commands. It's going to be very nice and clean and very sophisticated and polished and implemented in a way that is very easy to use and streamlined, really, and to the point where anyone can use it. You know, bronze players could use it to practice their mechanics, and diamond players can use it to practice theirs as well. And they also mentioned that the prototyping on this mode has just begun. I believe it's been in development for quite some time now, but they're kind of just still at the prototype phase, so don't really expect it for a while. I would personally estimate a launch around maybe the mid-season or so. Honestly, maybe even the preseason to Season 8. It is probably not going to come out for a while, at least not for a few months, that's for sure. But I would say we can definitely expect it sometime within 2017 or so. We'll have to see. But Riot's definitely going to be posting more updates in the future, as well as just giving us their thoughts and their direction and goals of what they're going to take this custom sandbox mode. Now, this is something I personally am honestly super excited for. You know, back in the day when the custom sandbox mode that was fan-made was kind of, you know, floated around the public a little bit, it was actually a lot of fun to play around with. It honestly wasn't that great. I'll play some footage of it. So this footage that you're watching right now is not the official sandbox mode. This is like the custom mode that was created by just some fan-based developers, stuff like that. But it honestly was a lot of fun to play around with. It didn't have too much functionality. It was extremely buggy and difficult to use, and especially extremely complicated to install. And overall wasn't really that much of a useful tool, honestly. It was kind of just something that you would play around with, mess around with. It was really gimmicky, you know, it was tough to like actually set up things to where you could practice, but you could kind of like change your models, change your movement speed and stats and stuff, and just like run around the map like crazy. It wasn't really useful for actually practicing stuff, but it was fun if you just kind of wanted to mess around with some gimmicks here and there for a couple hours. And it was something that I was kind of thinking about maybe making more videos about, but now that Riot has announced their official sandbox mode, well, that's something that I can just wait for it to come out, because honestly, sandbox mode, an official sandbox mode, is something that I think it's fair to say pretty much all of us have wanted for a really long time. I mean, especially the content creators like us, you know, no one really benefits more from a tool like this than content creators, honestly. I mean, I honestly just cannot wait to make videos with these setup of practice tools, this sandbox mode that Riot's releasing. It's going to be so awesome, you know, it's going to be cleaner, easier, just better overall, and actually so much more useful than any custom sandbox mode ever could be. So overall, you know, I'm definitely super excited to make content with it for sure. Now, there were a couple additional Rioter comments as far as the sandbox mode and kind of just like the plans for the future. So again, they are just in the prototype phase. They don't really have that much developed with it. They're also just planning on making it a mode that's useful only for single players, not really much else. It's just a way for solo players to practice their mechanics, and that's kind of the base, the foundation that they're establishing this game mode to be. But there was also some talk on the forums about implementing some sort of like training program or like some sort of game-based environment that you kind of queue up for that becomes like this practice thing that you can experiment with. Essentially just like a training program designed by Riot that you as the person playing the sandbox mode get to practice around with. And they said that it was something that sounds pretty cool, although it's definitely further down the list. They just want to get the basic tool functionality working first. That's definitely their main focus, but it is definitely going to be a work in progress. You know, it's something that they're going to build up, create a nice solid foundation for, and continue to develop over time, add features, add functions, add, you know, all sorts of stuff. So who knows, maybe in like 2-3 years time, the sandbox mode becomes something that is just so crazy awesome with tons of stuff to mess around with, to do, and just experiment with. And it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. And although Riot have kind of stated their goals with this mode and really what they plan on doing, there's a lot of instances of them saying like, okay, you know, this is what we're going to have the sandbox mode do, and then someone asks them, hey, what about this? And then they just answer, well, we kind of want to do that, but we're just going to focus on the main thing first. So as far as multiplayer functionality, training programs, additional features, additional tools for the practice stuff, it's definitely something that will almost certainly come after its release. It's just something that's going to take a little bit of time, and of course they want the fundamentals to be developed first. Overall though, this was an announcement that I am honestly super psyched about. It's honestly kind of just like the death of a meme, and Riot's killing them off one by one. Seems like Riot have been finally addressing so many long-term things this season, in Season 7 that is. You know, they're releasing replays, sandbox mode, new client, all kinds of stuff that they've just been talking about and hinting at and teasing for so many years, and things the community have wanted for so many years as well. So Season 7 is honestly going to be so awesome. I know that for a fact based on the Rioters that I've talked to at least. It's going to be sick. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait for Season 7. Hopefully you guys are excited about it as well, and I'm really excited to see where League of Legends goes in the future. So definitely let us know what your thoughts on the future upcoming sandbox mode, the practice tool, is going to be. Let us know in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, definitely hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.